So, as most of you might have already heard, Josh Berry was named to drive the number 8 Xfinity car for Junior Motorsports next season in the first 12 races. What you might not know is this is the biggest news in almost a decade for NASCAR, and today I'm going to tell you why. So for the past decade, Josh Berry has been one of the most dominant drivers, if not the most dominant driver, in the late model stock car division. Cars 2017 late model stock car champion, 2019 Valley Star Credit Union winner, and most recently the 2020 Advanced Auto Parts national champion. And he also added another crown jewel to his list just this week, the Old North State National, which is a annual $30,000 to win race. So you're probably saying, yeah, duh, we already know this, dude. What's your point? Get on with it. Well, here is my point. If you go to golden era NASCAR Cup racing, the 80s and 90s, you had guys who worked their way up the ladder in their own stuff, racing local short tracks, weekly divisions, and getting a whole bunch of wins, hoping to be noticed by another guy. Now, there were a few gentleman drivers. A gentleman driver is a driver that pays for a ride. He doesn't necessarily work on it, and he hasn't worked his way up. He just has money, and he pays the team to prepare a car. Now, this time, this was an exception to the rule, as opposed to being the rule itself. In the early to mid-90s, with more corporate money coming in, Wall Street noticed the appeal that drivers like Tim Richmond, Jeff Gordon, and Rob Moroso had on the sport. This created a shift in the driver market. Big corporations now wanted drivers who could sell products and win, but mostly could sell products. It's at this point that the previous model was turned on its head. Instead of rookie cup drivers earning their way up with hard work and winning at local short tracks, the new model preferred a driver who builds a brand, attracts a sponsor, and brings his own money to the ride. The new model favors people who are already well off and corporately connected, and made it almost impossible for blue-collar kids to get a ride, because a late model is a full-time job in itself, and most of these kids are already working a full-time job. So when they get off work, they're going and working on their car, and that's literally all they have time for before they go to the race. So that leaves no time to go and attract a corporate model, build a brand, whatever. Now I can already hear some of you haters in the back saying, yeah, blah, 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 but Josh Berry drove for Junior, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that might be true, but just because he drives for Junior doesn't mean he comes from a wealthy background. He was a bank teller. He's not a guy that comes from money. He was noticed by Junior for his driving ability in iRacing. And this brings me to why his promotion to Xfinity is so important to the NASCAR Cup Series and racing in general, and especially grassroots racing and short track racing. Josh Berry represents a much larger portion of racers and people in the stands than all of these rich kids who are getting these promotions based on the money they bring to the table to the team. So Josh being promoted still gives the average racer hope that if you can put in the work, you can still earn your way into a ride. And that's the most important thing, because if drivers don't have this incentive that they have an opportunity waiting for them at the next level, why are they going to keep racing? Why are they going to keep busting their hump, putting all their money and effort into something that they're not going to have a chance at? These rich guys will always be there. But these guys who are actually making your sport, they're putting in the hard work. If you're going to stop giving them opportunities, there's going to be 3 dudes at a racetrack. And then the racetracks are going to dry up. So this is so important, that a guy who put in the work and did it the right way is getting an opportunity, because it fulfills that hope that every average racer has that they can make it. Case in point, when this news first broke, I was at the track with Craig Moore and we were testing a race car. If you've ever been around Craig Moore, and Dusty was there too, these two guys work from the time you get to the track to the time you leave. They don't stop. Well, they were in there, dyno in a shock. I didn't really have anything to do, so I was sitting on my phone checking the news, and I started playing the video of when Josh was surprised by Junior. Craig Moore heard Josh Berry's voice, and him and Dusty both stopped what they were doing and came and listened to that interview and saw what was going on, and they both said, great, that is awesome. So for those guys to stop And then also acknowledge how great that this was. That is a huge thing, because you hardly ever see race car drivers say nice things about each other, because there's not because they don't like each other, because they're just so competitive they want to beat each other. But that right there tells you that these two guys who have dedicated a good portion of their life, at least 20 years apiece, I would say, to racing, for them to say this is a great opportunity for Josh, that tells you something right there. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Josh Berry getting promoted fixes everything. It's not going to help guys like Philip Morris, Lee Pulliam, Peyton Sellers, Barry Bagerly, guys that just dominated in late models and never got a real honest shot at the next level. Yes, some of those guys drove some stuff, but it was far from amazing and great stuff that they drove. But it might help the next generation, the Bubba Pollards, the Bobby McCartys, the Jared Fryers, the Stephen Nasseys of the world land that next opportunity based on merit. Hopefully this Josh Berry promotion, as well as the Ross Chastain promotion and the Chase Briscoe promotion, which are all very similar stories, all those guys worked hard. Hopefully this is a trend that's going in the right direction. Hopefully the paradigm is starting to shift back to the blue collar racer. It'll give these short track guys hope, and you'll start seeing more cars at the track, because guys won't be dissuaded from saying, hey, I can go race at this track and win the track championship, but I'm still just going to get overlooked for a guy who's got more money than me. Hopefully these stories right here will change the paradigm of short track racing in the future. All right, that's all I got today. Thanks for your time. Peace. Good luck next year, Josh.